The Swan Maiden's Moonlit Journey. The crescent moon hung low over the Enchanted Lake, its pale light weaving silver patterns across the water. The lake was quiet, save for the gentle sound of ripples against an ebony swan-shaped boat. Perched within it was Lyara, a maiden with crimson hair cascading over her delicate white wings, her golden eyes scanning the horizon. By day, she was a swan, bound to glide endlessly across the lake's surface. By night, she transformed into her human from a strange, sorrowful beauty with feathers still adorning her back. She had been cursed centuries ago by Arcanth, a spurned sorcerer whose bitterness knew no bounds. The lake was more than her prison, it was alive, pulsing with ancient magic. Its waters whispered secrets and warnings, and its depths held memories of every life it had claimed. Lyara shivered. The lake was both her keeper and her captor, ensuring she never strayed beyond its shimmering surface. Am I truly alive, or merely a shadow bound to this endless cycle? As she murmured aloud. Her voice echoed faintly, swallowed by the lake. A rustling broke the silence. Lyara's wings flared instinctively as she turned toward the shore. Emerging from the shadows was a man, his dark hair unruly and his cloak worn from travel. His piercing blue eyes locked with hers. "Who dares disturb my lake?" Lyara demanded, her voice sharp. The man raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "I mean no harm. I am Kale, a wanderer. I've heard stories of the Swan Maiden who guards this lake. I wanted to see if the legends were true." Lyara frowned. "The stories are exaggerated. I guard nothing but my own misery." Kale stepped closer, his boots sinking into the damp earth. "If that's true, why do you stay?" "I don't have a choice," Lyara replied bitterly. "Leave, wanderer. This lake is cursed, and its magic is dangerous." Kale tilted his head. "I've faced danger before. Perhaps I can help you." Lyara laughed, though there was no humor in it. "Help me? Do you think you can undo centuries of magic with a noble heart and good intentions?" Kale shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe you're so used to despair that you can't see a way out anymore." For the first time in years, Lyara didn't have an answer. Over the following nights, Kale returned to the lake, each time bringing stories of distant lands and forgotten kingdoms. Lyara found herself listening despite her reservations, her heart stirring at the tales of freedom and adventure. One evening, as the moon reached its peak, Kale stood at the water's edge, his gaze fixed on her. "Tell me the truth, Lyara. What binds you here?" Lyara hesitated, then spoke. "I was cursed by a sorcerer long ago. Arcanth wanted me as his bride, but I refused. In his anger, he transformed me into a creature of two worlds, tethered to this lake. He said the curse could only be broken if I found my true heart's desire. But centuries have passed, and I no longer know what that means." Kale frowned, his expression thoughtful. Perhaps the answer isn't as simple as love or longing. Maybe your true heart's desire is something you've forgotten or something you've never had. Lyara sighed. "I've tried to find meaning in this curse, but the lake's magic is cruel. It twists my memories, making it hard to remember who I was before." Kale stepped closer. "Then let's start with who you are now. What do you want, Lyara?" Her golden eyes met his, and for a moment, she let herself wonder. "I want to be free. I want to feel the earth beneath my feet, to see the world beyond these shores. I want to live." Kale smiled. "Then let's find a way to make that happen." The more Kale studied the lake's magic, the more he realized how deeply it was intertwined with Lyara's curse. The waters seemed to pulse with their own life, responding to Lyara's presence. He found ancient carvings near the shoreline ruins that hinted at a ritual known as the Trial of the Guardian. It says here, Kale explained one night, that the lake has a guardian, a spirit that enforces its magic. To break your curse, you'll need to face the guardian and prove yourself worthy. Lyara's wings trembled. And if I fail? Kale hesitated. Then the lake will claim you entirely. You'll become one with its magic, lost forever. Lyara swallowed hard. I've lived centuries in this form. If there's even a chance of freedom, I'll take it. On the night of the trial, Lyara stepped into the center of the lake. The moonlight bathed her in silver as the water began to churn. Kale stood on the shore, his fists clenched as the lake's surface erupted. A massive swan-like figure emerged, its feathers shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Its eyes, golden and unyielding, bore into Lyara's soul. Lyara, the guardian intoned, its voice echoing like 1,000 whispers. You seek freedom, but are you willing to pay the price? What price? Lyara asked, her voice steady despite her fear. The price of truth, the guardian said. You must face your deepest fear and sacrifice that which you hold most dear. The lake around Lyara darkened, its surface transforming into a mirror that reflected her memories. She saw herself as a child, free and laughing in a world beyond the lake. She saw the moment Arcanth cursed her, his eyes cold with malice. She saw centuries of isolation, of watching the world move on without her. What is your greatest fear? The guardian asked. Lyara's voice trembled. That I've lost myself. That I've forgotten who I truly am. The guardian nodded. Then you must choose. Hold on to the pain of your past, or let it go and step into the unknown. Lyara closed her eyes. I let it go. I let it all go. A blinding light engulfed her as the lake's magic shattered. Her wings dissolved, replaced by soft skin. She collapsed onto the swan boat, gasping as the curse lifted. Kale waded into the water, pulling her into his arms. You did it, he said, his voice full of awe. I'm free, Lyara whispered, tears streaming down her face. As the first rays of dawn broke over the lake, Lyara turned to Kale. What now? Kale smiled. Now, we live. Hand in hand, they walked away from the lake, leaving behind its shadows and stepping into the light of a new beginning.